Some of the early project decisions that were made were a combination of brief requirements along with what we consider to be efficient and best practice in going forward. One of those examples is a converged network which is in place throughout the precinct.
Converged networks, I think, are a necessary evil. There'll be more and more requirement for that because it's just down to a pretty simple cost perspective. Yeah, that the opportunity to deliver real-time media, whether that be audio, video, or the control of that, and converge that into other business services. You know, in a business service in here is Wi-Fi capability for exhibition goers and so forth. It doesn't really make sense as those needs get more and more complex to have separate networks. So there's always a cost driver to unify that. To do that successfully requires, number one, knowledge of networks, and not just about knowing what a subnet mask is and an IP address is and so forth, but having a good understanding and having subject matter expertise within your business unit to have a good understanding so they can talk the language of communicating to ICT professionals and say, right, this is what we need to deliver, and then having those conversations early. The
permanent ICT network topology for the precinct is a redundant 10 gig fibre backbone that feeds each of the rack rooms, which is then fed out with Cat7 cabling. Cat7 cabling is also used for all the AV signal infrastructure. There is temporary cable troughs from all the key locations for outside broadcast to be introduced, and longer term exhibitions to be taken part here. There is also a massive technical cable infrastructure which is provided for ease of setup with multiple formats, and these decisions were made early in the piece because they can't be refreshed. Is the core infrastructure, and that's the way it will always be unless there's architectural changes. Crestron HT-based signal transport was used throughout all of the hireable spaces, excluding the theatres. It was used over an IP transport system due to its reliability in having completely delay-free signal. Real-time
delivery and everything that we do is very important, and you need to have a good understanding of networks if you're going to deliver that over a converged network. Because it's not just about reading a data sheet and saying, oh well, it's Cisco so it should be all right, or it's HP or it should be all right. There's plenty of configuration that goes on to make it work, and I think as systems integrators, I mean, if you have to take the word integrator, you are integrating devices, a lot of disparaged devices, and getting them all to communicate on a network that you don't necessarily own. So that's key, I think, to modern system integration.
Any IP streamed video throughout the precinct is used for other purposes, including digital signage and IPTV systems. But the HT-based T is primarily used in all the meeting rooms and hireable spaces. Due to being able to build a new building from scratch, we have clusters of meeting rooms with local rack rooms for ease of cabling, fault finding and operation of the venue. There is a QSys audio network which is the primary I/O and network audio distribution throughout the precinct. Having QSys as a network audio, network amplifier, loudspeaker and controller monitoring platform creates simplicity for the venue operator, and it has an extremely powerful processing and I/O count in comparison to other competitors on the market.
QSys is a platform that's always been around for some time, which really excels at the large end of town in terms of large channel count and complex requirements. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with. It's a platform that's scalable, that's effective. It ticked off all the key areas. So here we needed something that had resilience and reliability. We needed flexible echo cancellation for meeting rooms, for video conferencing and so forth. We needed a redundancy capability that it does intrinsically out of the box. We're also using the QSys control element here in some of the back of house rooms. So whilst we have Crestron as all the main solutions, we have some areas, so back of house dressing rooms and so forth, that required a really simple control interface. So we're utilising little QSys touch panels in those areas that integrate into the main Crestron control system. We also have that same capability within the COTAG media, so the digital signage. So they have a control application that's also integrated into the Crestron control platform. So it means that I can give the event operator, so an usher staff, the ability to use their own device to come in and change lighting levels or change background music levels or send a logo up to a screen in that area. It's all about providing a better user experience.